Ever wanted to make one of those adorable cupcake bouquets but didn't know how? Watch this video and I give you a trick. Just recently, a group of lady friends, we took a class on how to decorate cupcakes. It was local here in Prescott, Arizona. I would highly suggest, even if you're not in the area, follow Cupcakes by Leanne. I have the links down below. Follow her on social media. She just has adorable things. She's just a very talented woman. And so it is her fault that I am cupcake obsessed. So I have been working on trying to figure out how to make a cupcake bouquet, but I wasn't a fan of the tissue paper. It would get the frosting on it. I wanted something a little bit more permanent. So watch today's video and see how you can make this adorable cupcake bouquet, and it's reusable. You can use it over and over again. So if you haven't already, we would appreciate you subscribing to the channel, giving us a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or tips or ideas, I love to be obsessed, so comment down below. Okay, this video is not to show you how to decorate cupcakes. I'm still learning that, but to how to make them into a bouquet. So here is a visual of everything you're going to need. You'll need 6 little, I call them Dixie cups, and these measure 2.5 inches across diameter on the top. You will need 1 drinking cup. I believe these are 20 ounce. But you're going to be cutting this down, but to start with, this cup is 5 inches tall. You'll need 5 hair ties, 1/4 yard of fabric for your leaves, so I picked a green, so 1/4 yard of fabric, pinking shears. If you have pinking shears, not required, but this gives a nice little edge, stapler, hot glue gun, and I'm using a metal pail, which that measures about almost 7 inches across, but it also works for this terracotta pot, which is closer to 6.5 inches. So you can make it as big as little as you want based on your pot, but I'll show you how we do it. Out of your fabric, you need to cut 6 squares that are 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And so I'm cutting them with my rotary cutter, and then I am going to take my pinking shears and trim them to have a edge all the way around. Okay, so then you're going to end up with 6 pieces of fabric. After you trim them, they're going to be probably 6.25 inch square. With the rest of your fabric, you're going to want to cut leaves. Your initial 6 squares are the cups that your cupcakes are going to sit in, but your leaves are going to go around the bottom of the cups. So this is just a scrap that I had on my first cut. So fold your fabric in half so you have a fold at the bottom. Use your pinking shears and just cut out a shape of a leaf that is roughly 2 inches to 2.5 inches tall. There you go. So you're going to need 20 of these leaves. So at this point, this is what you have. You have 20 little leaves and you have 6 squares of fabric. To give you a big picture of what's going to happen, these are your hair ties. These leaves are going to get sewn around your hair tie, and then they are going to go onto the bottom of the cup before we staple them together. So the next step is we need to mark our squares before we take the leaves and the squares to the sewing machine. On your squares, on the wrong side, take a tape measure and something to mark with. A piece of soap works really well, and mark 2 inches in from each corner. Then take your square and we're going to fold it to make a small square to find the center point, and we're going to make a square about 1/2 inch from that corner. And this is just for a point of reference to sew to. So obviously not online on point there. It's just a point of reference, because what's going to happen is we're going to take this to a sewing machine and we're going to go right sides together and we're matching up those two tick marks. We're going to then sew from there to approximately this point. And again, it doesn't matter. It's just a point to shoot for. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides. So before we get to the sewing machine though, you need to mark all of these the same way, 2 inches in from the sides, and then we need a square in the center. Okay, now we have our hair tie and one of our leaves. Open up the leaf and put it around your hair tie. And we're just going to do a small little stitch on each one all the way around. And it's just literally just a few stitches forward and a few stitches back. Take your next leaf. And do the same. Okay, so now we're at the machine. We're going to fold right sides together, match up your corners, and you're going to see that your hash marks don't quite match up. It's just a point of reference. So these ones don't match up. I'm going to split the difference and go in between them. And I'm going to straight stitch down to my square. And just to make it faster, I'm going to go over to this square, the tip of that square, and here's the hash mark there. So kind of split the difference. I'm going to go to about here. Fold your square the other way, match up your other corners. There's my hash mark. I'm going to go from there down to the tip of the square. While it's still in the machine, just going to come over to this one, line up my corners a little bit better. There we go. And here's my mark. Okay, here's what you have at this point. Now take your pinking shears and trim off your seam. And there is your little cup. And before I put it in the cup, I like to starch it. So I'm just going to iron and starch this so it has a little bit more body to it. But do that for the rest of the 5 remaining pieces of fabric. Now we're ready to start assembling the cup. So take your leaves and slide them up to the top of each cup. You're going to do it on 5 of the cups, so you're not going to be doing it on the one that goes in the center. You don't need to adjust your leaves right now. Once you start stapling them together, you'll see where the gaps are. So just do that on the 5 cups. Take your stapler, and the cup that doesn't have any leaves on it is your center cup. And you're going to staple all of them a little shy of a finger width away from the top lip. So just put it in and do one big staple. And this is where you're just going to adjust those leaves out of the way. And we're going to touch the next one to there. Keep it about a finger width from the lip of the top. I think I forgot to tell you in the intro that you need to grab a paper plate, a salad plate, and this one is 7 inches across, and we're just going to cut off that top lip. And on your solo cup, on the big cup, we are going to cut it to be 3.5 inches tall. So on this here, it's just this line on the cup. I'm just going to cut that off. Okay, I have my hot glue gun. Just going to smash this top full of hot glue. Take your plate, have the curved part up to the ceiling, and pretty close, as much as you can, center it onto your plate. Now take the bottom of your little cups and we're going to hit the high points with glue. So here's my bucket. So it sits, it's just the perfect height. And now this is where you can adjust your leaves to have them just peek out over the edge. I think that's just super cute. Now we're ready to put in your fabric. Okay, she's ready for our cupcakes. I went ahead and made 3 different sets so you could see the difference. This is a solid green, a light green, and then the olive green that I was sewing in the video. And I have already decorated the cupcakes. And the tip that Leanne gave is freeze your cupcakes before you put them in. So now when I drop these in, the frosting is going to be a little bit harder and won't smush. And we can adjust the fabric a little bit. Just don't want to do too much because I just kind of poked that frosting there. So you can just adjust it. But the cool thing about this design now, as you're serving it and someone wants this cupcake, they can simply lift it out by pulling out the fabric, and then you have your fabric to reuse. So here they are, all done. I'm in love with the whole cupcake world. If you have any suggestions how I could improve this, I would love to hear it. Please comment down below, subscribe, all of that. But as always, thank you for watching DIY on the House.